Welcome to Changemakers. It's a free and short professional development for you K-12 educators and pre-service educators as well. This series is focused on interactive workshops that spotlight student-centered classrooms and culture-responsive teaching. If you're interested in a professional development certificate for hours, there will be a QR code and a link shared at the end of the session. Tonight, we have Tsui joining us. Alice is an Asian American, Chinese American pianist, Grammy Finalist music educator, scholar, activist, dog mom, and lifelong Brooklyn, New Yorker. Alice is the founding music teacher and arts coordinator at PS 532 New Bridges Elementary, an adjunct professor at New York University, and a core faculty educator at Carnegie Hall's Music Educators Workshop. As a product of the NYC Public School system, Alice is passionate about decolonizing, anti-bias, anti-racist, abolitionist public music education, and empowering individual and collective voices of youth through music as expression. Alice's workshop tonight will last about 25 minutes, and we'll have some time afterwards for a Q&A with Alice if you have questions about her work, or with me if you have any questions about our program here at Longy School of Music. And so without further ado, I will be monitoring the chat throughout, so if you have questions, please feel free to put them in there, and I will turn it over to Alice.
Thank you, Jamie. Hello, everyone. It's so great to see you and or hear you or see you in the chat. And if you feel comfortable, I encourage you to turn on your camera, and whichever way that you want to engage is totally fine with me. So today I'm going to be talking about inclusivity of AANHPI voices in the music classroom. So my name is Alice Tsui. In Mandarin Chinese, my name is Xu Xiaolan, and my pronouns are she, her. I identify as Asian American, specifically first generation ABC. When an Asian person tells you that, for myself, for example, ABC stands for American born Chinese, which means I'm born here, and my family is born in China, my parents. And first generation really is something that is scholarly debated and used colloquially different. So I use first generation to say that I'm the first generation to be born here in America. I'm a pianist. I'm an amplifier of youth voice. I think it's important to consider myself as someone who amplifies, not gives voice, because every student themselves already has their own voices, and it's our job as music educators to amplify those voices that they already have. And I'm the founding music educator. I have authored a couple of scholarly works, but for me, one of the most important things that I've written is We Are Golden, Woman Shijingde, which is a book available on F-Flat Books and talks about an Asian American girl who goes through an instance of racism in the music classroom. And I'm a dog mom and love bubble tea, which I kind of wish I had in this moment right now. So I hope wherever you are, you can have some at some point. And I just want to start with saying that this is not a all-inclusive workshop, and just rather something to consider for all of us as we continue to consider what it means to actually be inclusive of AANHPI voices as lifelong work, not just work that we can complete in 25 minutes. With that, I do want to start with a map of all of these places that I'm speaking about. So first, Asia. So often when we talk about Asia, we only consider China, Japan, and Korea. But if we just look at this map alone, just take a moment to think for yourself, what are the places geographically in Asia that I know a lot about? And also, what are the places that I need to learn more about? Asking ourselves these questions and having that radical transparency with ourselves is something that I hope to model tonight in my work, and something that I hope we continue to think about. I'm going to move forward. Here's a map of the Pacific Islands. And same question. What are the places in the Pacific Islands that you know a lot about? What are the places in the Pacific Islands you need to know more about? And the NH of AANHPI stands for Native Hawaiian. So in Hawaii, what are the places in Hawaii that I know about? And what are the places that I need to learn more about? So every time that you are thinking about the term AANHPI, what are the things that you already know? What do you seek to know? And how are you going to learn those things? I want to expand by also talking about Asian American terminology. So I already said in my intro that I identify as Asian American, specifically Chinese American and ABC. Those are terms that are specific to myself, and every Asian person or Asian identifying person or AANHPI identifying person identifies themselves differently. Once again, this is a few of the terminology that people may identify and use, but there are others as well. So popular in America currently include Asian American Pacific Islander, AAPI. So very often we call May AAPI month. We also use the term APIA, which stands for Asian Pacific Islander American. There's also APITA, Asian Pacific Islander Desi Americans. And the term BDIA, which comes from decolonizing the music room and coined by Lorelei Tsui, which stands for Black, Brown, Indigenous, and Asian. So tonight I'm using the term AANHPI. That is currently the term that the White House and the US government uses. That is inclusive of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander folks. But I do also want to openly name that that is not inclusive of Desi American. So just something to keep in mind. I also want us to take a look at this graphic, this chart from the census. And these are population estimates from 2016 to 2020 based on the US Census. And just a note of what is this breakdown? In the description of this workshop tonight, I said that there are currently over 24 million folks that identify as Asian American. And so even just looking at this chart, do I know a lot about what it means to be Pakistani? Do I know a lot about what it means to be Bangladeshi? Once again, thinking what do we already know and what can we continue to seek to know? So as we come to every professional learning space, I want to acknowledge and affirm that we have many hopes and we also have many truths that we each carry to our spaces. Maybe you're someone who is in an environment where there are a lot of API folks, AANHPI folks, or maybe you're someone who has no interaction on the daily with the AANHPI folks, and that's important to recognize as well. Whichever our lifelong experiences and exposure to different cultures is something that we carry in every step of our identity as people and also in the places that we go. So for me, this work begins with something of affirmations. And those of you who may have known a little bit about my work, I consider affirmations as tools of resistance and empowerment for our youth and ourselves. So one way to think about what it means to be inclusive is to consider what can those affirmations be for me. Here are a few affirmations that I've written a number of years ago now on what it means to be Asian American. So I'm just going to read them aloud. I am a voice that matters. I am worthy of safety, respect, and love. I am part of the Asian American community. I am my own Asian American identity. And I am Asian American. These are a few affirmations that I carry with me on the daily that I think about as I continue throughout in my life and also as a music educator. I also want to take a moment to just name that the term Asian American was coined in the 1960s by college students on the West Coast who were inspired by the Black Power movement. And that term Asian American was intentionally coined as a tool of resistance to unify different Asian identifying folks. Prior to the 1960s, there was no term that was unifying all these different peoples. So that is just some historical context, and I encourage us all to continue learning about that as well. So what does this mean in terms of music making and the music classroom? As I'm talking through the different ways that Asian American folks and AANHPI folks are in the music classroom, I'm focusing on the AA, the Asian American aspect today, but we'll also prompt different questions that we can ask as we are researching and learning more about NH, the NH and the PI of our identities, whether it is ourselves or the people that we seek to serve or the people that we just want to learn more about. So I'm taking us through a musical listening exercise where we're going to listen to excerpts of different Asian American created music that is current, all living artists today, and rooted in Asian American activism. For me, this is really important as a result of the Stop Asian Hate movement and also other movements across the United States that have occurred. So I'm going to start with one that is a live clip from a rally that I spoke at in March 2021 after the murders of the women in Atlanta. And this is from MC Jin. And let's just take a moment to listen. As we're listening, feel free to write in the chat, what are your reactions, whether it is gut reactions, feelings, ideas, lyrics that stand out to you, any type of way that you want to react. And as I'm saying this to you, this is something that I do with my students as well when we listen to new music. What stands out to you? What are lyrics that pop out to you? What is the artist saying that resonates with you? What are you feeling when you're listening? What instruments do you hear? Any musical prompts are ways that you can engage students in this way.
Let's go, Marvel, drop that.
Chinese and what?
Put your fist up.
Yeah, you know
Yo, turn it up a little bit more. Let's go, let's go. Everybody in the back. Shout out to my pops, too. Here we go, here we go. Yo, y'all gonna learn Chinese. Y'all gonna learn Chinese. Hey, y'all gonna learn Chinese. When them hands go up, they gonna speak Chinese. New York City, make some noise. 20 years ago, I said that. I swear I'm even more proud now to say it because of y'all. I'm even more encouraged, and most of all, I'm even more inspired. So I know we're already like 2-3 months away from the Lunar New Year, but I don't care. It's Lunar New Year for me every damn day. Gong, hey, fi, choi. Yo, Marvel, drop that. Put your peace signs up in the air, yo. Where's all my hip-hop heads? It's New York City. Come on, let's go. Rock with me, everybody. Yo, my people keep their head up in the truest display. Do what they gotta do just to get through the day. Back in Hong Kong, where they grew up and stayed, until they immigrated to the US of A. Chasing the American dream, a rough ride for my pops. Guess what? He still shut them down, open up shop in the back of the kitchen, making wontons. Late night out with my mom's playing mahjong. See, I was a youngin', but the culture was inside of me. Playing cards big too, never want that diamond 3. Every Sunday it was part of the tradition. While y'all was at church, dim sum was our religion. I'm on a quest for love, that's just part of my pursuits. No matter where I go, I'm always sticking to my roots. Unite us all, that's what I'm trying to do here. Cause for me, every day is Lunar New Year. Go, hey, fi, choi. Let's go, let's go.
But I ain't new here.
Like, see, no, Lord. Every day is Lunar New Year. Go, hey, fi, choi.
New day, new hope, but
Hey,
new
hey.
year.
It's a Marvel thing.
Lord.
So as we're watching, like I said, feel free to respond, whether it's in the chat, what resonated with you, or come off mute and share reactions. But I also want to just elicit out something that a couple of things that MC Jin said. First of all, when he's speaking in Chinese, in this video, he's speaking in Cantonese, a dialect of Chinese. And also he made a reference about hip hop and being in New York City. And I do want to recognize that it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop this year. And that's another tie to consider. And then ultimately, the chorus of that song is Lunar New Year. Every day is Chinese New Year. And we are able to say that as Chinese folks. But it is also something that's important to note is that we're not equating the two, because not everyone calls it Chinese New Year, especially if they're not Chinese. So by naming that Lunar New Year is every day is Lunar New Year, something that I want to already name is that so often when we talk about inclusivity of AANHPI folks, we wait till Lunar New Year to talk about what it means to be Asian American. And so this is a way to already bring to students Lunar New Year, every aspect of their identity, whether it is the food, the dim sum, the shopping, the mahjong, whatever it is happening in your home and your culture is something that can be celebrated every day, all year long, no matter if there's a holiday or not. I'm going to go
Let's
forward
go, Marvel.
to this next song. And in this next song, it is Stop the Hatred, which came from what occurred during that March, what occurred in March 2021.
Rain love on me, rain love on me. Open up your eyes and finally see.
My grandma passed away at the top of last year. At the funeral drowning cause I couldn't hold back tears. But after all that's happened this past year, part of me sees grace in the fact that she's not here. As a grandson, this statement's a fact. No elderly should ever be victim of such a heinous attack. Prey on the weak, only cowards would take advantage of that. No more staying meek, it's time to take a stand and react. A simple trip to the market, thought the streets were safe. Turn targets, I speak up for my people's sake. From this pandemic, I'm hopeful that we'll see escape. Until then, love's the only vaccine for hate. Now when my folks leave the house, it's quite the norm. My mind's flooded with thoughts of what might go wrong. Truthfully, I wish I didn't have to write this song, but it's only right I recite it since this mic is on.
What if we went a little bit out of our way to stop the hatred?
Imagine that.
Stop the hatred. What if we took a little time out of our day to stop the hatred?
Could it be?
Stop the hatred.
So from this particular excerpt, it is a direct talk about anti-Asian racism that occurred in the United States, and also in particular MC Jin's experience and his naming of both his grandma passing, but also naming the fear that existed for many Asian American folks, AANHPI folks, during the pandemic, particularly when it came to attacks against elderly people in the community. And so naming that in the music also speaks to how music can be that vehicle where students can express those ideas for themselves and also for the communities that they see. Something else that is really powerful in this video to note is that music, particularly music from Asian Americans, does not happen in its own void or its own silo. There are collaborations, cross-cultural collaborations that can occur musically. And this is an example of that occurring as well. At the very end of the video, there is a clip that I'm going to play, an audio clip. I'm going to go a little bit before that, actually.
Open up your eyes and finally see. Rain love on me, rain love on me. Open up your eyes and finally see.
I want you to say exactly what's on your heart right now. Say it.
Stop the hatred!
Say it one more time, Chance.
Stop the hatred!
And yes, Angel, I see your comment. Absolutely. The use of media in this form is really important and effective when showing the emotions. And that's something that can be really powerful when students are able to see that visualization. So often we ask students to experience or to share what they feel, but it is also something powerful to see what it means to have that emotion and feel that emotion. So that last clip was a clip of MC Jin's son, Chance, that was at that rally. And here's actually live footage from that. Oh no, are you, is it still there? Do you all still see the screen? Okay, good.
Say it one more time, Chance.
Stop the hatred!
How do you feel?
Good.
God bless you guys. Thank you for letting me and my son have this moment. I sincerely, wholeheartedly appreciate you all.
So there is so much power to having children see other children seeing AANHPI folks saying words that are truly from them. This was unscripted. This was just MC Jin. I was there. MC Jin literally handed the mic to his son and asked him if there was anything that he wanted to say. And that's what he said. And there's so much power in having those unscripted moments where students, children are able to just express what is on their heart and in musical ways, and see that MC Jin, his dad, ultimately able to create this as a form of art.
Say it one more time, Chance.
Sorry. Okay. And just so you know the scope of this particular rally, this is just one photo. That's me speaking at it at Well, and it was over 10,000 people in Chinatown in New York City that attended this and heard multiple different Asian American folks speak to how important it is to use our voices in such ways. So those are very, to me, very heavy topics that can be talked about in the music classroom, important. But I also want to be intentional in how we bring joy ourselves to our classroom spaces and also center joy for our students. So I just want you to think for yourself, what brings you joy? And if it's something that you haven't asked your students already in your musical spaces, I encourage you to ask them, what brings you joy? And more specifically, what does joy look like? What does joy feel like? And what does joy sound like? AANHPI folks, just like everyone else, have very different interpretations of what joy is. For me personally, joy is a very complex emotion. It is not okay to say that joy is synonymous with happiness because they aren't. Happiness and joy are not the same. Joy for me is often rooted with complex stories that aren't always the most positive. Because I can think of many moments where I have found joy in painful moments or joy in trauma. That being said, how can we then create joy in our spaces? When we consider creating joy in our spaces, I think about our community. Community for me is at the center and at the core of our collective music making. Anytime that we're able to be in front of our students and have them share their voices, share their stories, share who they are, share their identities, and or ask about identities is a way for us to build community. And with that, I want us to now take a look at a couple of videos that shift from the pain, take some parts of pain for some of them, and root it in joy. So this is a song called Quiet. This was actually popularized during the Women's March that occurred a couple of years ago in DC, and Milk, along with a couple of people who were at the march, were just circle singing the song Quiet. I'm going to start from somewhere in the middle.
I could do that, but no one knows me, no one ever will. If I don't say something, if I just lie still, would I be that monster, scare them all away? If I let them hear all I have to say, I can't keep quiet, no, I can't keep quiet, no, one woman riot, I can't keep quiet.
So Milk actually has multiple music videos of this song. There's one, and if you look at the bottom, you'll see a couple of videos that has the footage from that march where she is literally with other folks who are marching. But in addition to that, there are videos where she talks about different issues, including there's a music video of her featuring a story of domestic abuse. And what does it mean to then rejoice and not just keep quiet? And there's a lot of power in naming that as well. Now we're going to go to a Filipina musician named Ruby Ibarra. And this is a song called Us.
Island woman rise, walang makakatigil. Brown woman rise, alamin ang iyong ugat. They got nothing on us, nothing on us, nothing on us, nothing on us. Island woman rise, walang makakatigil. Brown woman rise, alamin ang iyong ugat. They got nothing on us, nothing on us, nothing on us. Isang bagsak. Yo, fuck a story arc if it don't involve no matriarch. Some mothers work from the ground up, they craft an air like ATR with the butterfly sleeves. Naka-Philippine na pag nagsalita mga banat ay bala. Wag magtaka kung ako ay makatabulok na sistema. Kurakot sa pera, bagsak pa we put in.
So I'm going to pause there because some of the videos do have language that you might choose to censor in your classroom. So I do want to openly name that, but I also want to name the power and the reclamation that Ruby Ibarra is taking when she is naming these things when they say they got nothing on us. And to see visuals, and I'm glad that someone also had wrote this in the chat, to see visuals and representation in ways that so often when we think about Asian American, we are not being inclusive of. In particular, when we talk about Asian Americans, so often, as I said earlier, we just only refer to Chinese, Japanese, and Korean or East Asian, and we're not thinking about folks who are South Asian or or in other parts of Asia.
A little while before we went into lockdown, a boy in my class came up to me and said that his dad told him to stay away from Chinese people. After I told him that I was Chinese, he backed away from me. Eloise and I wrote the song based on that experience.
So this is about him and all the other racist, sexist boys in this world. 1, 2, 3, 4!
So the Lindas also have many recordings of Racist Sexist Boy. This did go viral for a bit, this particular performance, but this is a way again to see to show students that there are ways that AANHPI voices are speaking up, expressing themselves musically, and already in the couple of videos that I've shown, there are many musical genres explored as well. Another stereotype that is often associated with Asian American folks is that Asian American children or AANHPI folks are only playing classical music or only listen to classical music or only are in settings of classical music, which is untrue.
I know you're looking at me right now. You're looking at me so fine now. I wanna know if you can love me now. I wanna know if there's something wrong.
Social media, should I be locked behind bars? If somebody kicked my mother in the streets, stumped her out, the bystanders turned and leave. I swear to God, it'd be a slaughterhouse. I kill every one of them and smile as they arrest me. But that makes me just like them. Let the hate get the best of me. I mean, they say to turn the other cheek. And then what? Watch them kill us in the streets? I don't think so. I know I look nothing like you, but I hope that you still love me. I do. Still got love for you, I do. Yeah, I do. 听我说 Hey， 看着我们的皮肤，感觉都是我们的错，因为他们的眼里，我们的差别太多。但在皮肤下，我们的血同个色，谁能告诉我那么的恨？为什么？
So in this video, Bohan Phoenix is speaking Mandarin Chinese, but also with English. Another thing that I think is important to dispel is that people who are Chinese only speak Chinese, or people who are American only speak English, and really promoting ways that we can encourage that bilingualness in music, and in ways that don't always have to be fully fluent either. I think it's important to promote that and showcase that. I also want to name that in this video, it's important that we see multiple ways that communities are working together. Once again, the diversity of what it means to be a NHPI, and also the diversity of the communities that we all exist in. I'm looking at the time, and I'm just going to fast forward a little bit, and I want to go to this song by Magnetic North. There are two versions of this song, one that came out many years ago, and then this is the recreated version of the song We Belong.
I'm here, grew up on the shores of America. Open up shop, brand stores in America. Wash windows, clean floors in America. Only trust me with your chores in America. Just need one open door in America. Cried when we elected 44 for America. My family's here, fought wars for America. On TV, just a whore for America. I get the memo, this is your America. Take my money, tax forms in America. Take a food, charge more in America. Use a culture for decor in America. History that you can't ignore. America, I'm the leader I was looking for. America, never silent, keeping score. America, and it's time I needed more. We're still here, we're going strong, and we're getting tired of proving we belong. We're still here, we're going strong, and we're getting tired of proving we belong. Proving we
Robinhood and invest in us, we be living pleasure acts abundantly. Abolition is healing our suffering, belonging our purpose to the ones in need. Cause if one ain't got it, ain't no one free. I speak from the streets till I not be king. All my relations need reparations. Power to the people, our disposition belong to the land with First Nations permission. Maktub, the word that was written when we decolonize. We belong to wisdom, the cry for liberty, the right side of history. Overstand the bigotry, it's never really finished.
even when it's slow, we're going strong, and we're getting tired of proving we belong. We keep holding on. We're still here, even after all these years. We're going strong, and we're getting tired of proving we belong. We keep proving we belong.
So again, with all of these different videos, there are so many ways that we can consider how we can be inclusive of AANHPI voices. So I want to leave us with a couple of questions that I encourage us to think about, and also what it means to be including the voices in our classrooms. Starting with, what is our comfort and our discomfort with joy? And I say this because so often when we think about inclusion, it is unfortunately reduced to just checkbox inclusion. Like, okay, I showed this song and now my students have seen it, and now we did it, but that is not enough. Is it comfortable for me to talk about these issues? Is it comfortable for me to talk about cultures that I'm unsure about? And if there's a discomfort, why does that discomfort exist? Is it because I don't regularly interact with the specific culture? Is it because I need to figure out how I can better interact with a specific culture? Is it because I need to figure out how I can be genuine when I'm teaching certain aspects of content? Another question to consider, what connections may we have between joy and healing? So often we once again separate the two. Is the healing process connected to joy? Is there a joy that can come out of the healing? And what does healing look like for each person? So much of what has been popularized by corporations as healing and self-care is not actually healing for ourselves as we define it. So what does it mean for us to define what healing is? What does it mean for our students to define what healing is? And what ways are we encouraging students to heal in our musical spaces without reproducing the status quo? So there are ways that we can consider asking students how they can turn this into musical products. I do want to also name that listening does not always have to result in a product, but it also can result in a product as well. So it's really up to our students. One way that students can consider creating this, and yourselves as well, is to create a short piece, instrumental and or vocal, based on what you write down in terms of reactions. Maybe from the We Belong song, you just heard the two words a lot. We belong, we belong. What does that mean to say we belong? How will I turn those 2 notes or 3 notes, maybe if I'm an instrumental person, into my own excerpt? What does it then mean to now communicate that instrumentally to my students? Maybe I'm listening to But I Still Love You from Bohan Phoenix. Are you someone in your culture who says I love you a lot? What does it mean to say you still love someone, even if something harmful has occurred in your community? So I hope that these are just some opening questions for you to think about all of these different ways that you can be engaging and inclusive of AANHPI voices in your classroom, including students in your spaces, being windows into students' lives and different cultures. And these are 2 final questions for us to always continue reflecting back on. What have we learned as music educators in this space? What can we continue to learn? And also, what have we learned about joy as people in our own lives, in academic settings, and our musical settings? And how have our students learned about joy and can continue to prioritize their joy? And now, this is a way to connect with me, but I'm definitely open to hearing any questions, comments, ideas. Yeah.
I want to invite you all to our next Changemakers happening on October 25th. Michael Coelho, who is the Performing Arts Director in Ipswich, Massachusetts, is going to be talking about creative strategies for engaging audiences, students in concert repertoire. That's 8 p.m. on August 25th, if you're interested. One more thank you, one more round of applause for Alice. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us. And we look forward to seeing you all at our next Changemakers. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.